Hello. Today, I'd like to talk about how to properly co-create solutions. What typically happens in meetings is we show up to the meeting and everybody has their own solution. Everybody starts brainstorming with their own solution. They're emotionally involved with their solution, and we end up fighting over whose solution's better. Everybody's attached to their solution, and it ends up being a highly internal, conflicting situation where everybody's trying to explain why their solution is better. I'd like to present to you an alternative approach to co-creating solutions. The analogy we're going to use to try and explain this process I'm about to explain is the military line. You might have seen in movies, you might have been in the military yourself, that they always say, hold the line. Because when an infantry or any kind of military is attacking the enemy, it's important that we attack in a line. Why? Because if somebody gets too aggressive and too eager, they might step ahead and run ahead. And then when we open fire, we end up shooting that person. Or if somebody's cowardly and falls behind, when they open fire, they end up shooting everybody else. So it's very important in the military that we all advance together and that we arrive together. The same thing is true when you're trying to find a solution to a problem. We have to advance together across the terrain. So in this session, I'm going to explain what that terrain is. And of course, the end of the terrain is solution finding, is finding the solution. What ends up happening is that when different people are not holding the line, they end up arriving at different solutions. How do we hold this line? How do we make sure we arrive together at a common solution? Let me explain. The first step, the first hurdle we have to overcome holding the line is we have to define what the problem is. Obviously, if I'm trying to solve problem A and you're trying to solve problem B, what are the chances we're going to arrive at the same solution? Zero, right? Now, it might seem simple because the problem is defined. Look, problems have problems causing that problem, and they have manifestations of that problem. And those manifestations are going to create new problems. It's going to be a big spiral. And what we find is that different people, while they think they're attacking the same problem, they're attacking it from different angles. We have to agree at what angle are we going to attack this problem? Just like from what approach are we going to attack the enemy? There's many ways to attack it. So let's agree what the problem is. Okay, there's obviously a big chain of causality with many causes, symptoms, manifestations. Where are we going to attack this thing? Where are we going to hit it from? That's step number one. By the way, it might be from multiple angles, but let's agree on that and then attack one angle at a time. Multiple solutions to one problem, very common when it's a complex problem. But let's agree and then attack it from one angle, and then the other angle, and the other angle, or else we'll end up with many different solutions and it'll be a mess. So again, step number one, what is the problem we're trying to solve? Let's agree. Now, when I say agree, I want to be clear. We have the discussion and it's not democracy. It's not getting consensus. The goal is to get the boss, the person with authority in the room, the information they need and the buy-in of the team because they're offering their opinions to understand, and then they can decide from what angle we're going to attack. So it's not about consensus here. We have to allow the boss to make that decision, but they should do it with all the knowledge needed, and they're getting that knowledge from the people who are working in the field, the people that are actually going to do the work in implementing the solution, and people who are experts on the subject. We call it CAPI, Coalesced Authority Powered Influence. Let's say we agree what the problem is. Let's say the problem is that our marketing material is outdated and there's spelling mistakes. And now, what is the task? What are we going to do about it? Maybe I believe that the task is for us to change the color scheme and fix the spelling mistakes on our marketing material. While you believe the task is to go hire a marketing company in Madison Avenue, New York, that's going to rebrand our company and change our entire PR. These are two different tasks to the same problem. And obviously, if we disagree on what the task is, we're not going to come to the same solution. So the next hurdle we have to overcome is we have to agree. And when I say agree, remember, the boss, the person with authority, is going to make the final decision. But we're doing it collaboratively by hearing everybody's opinion. so they can make a good decision. Once we agree on what the task is, now what's the next step? Well, let's say that the boss said, no, we're going to go with Madison Avenue. We're going to rebrand the whole company. We're going to do a whole big marketing effort. Now, I believe that a good marketing company that we can hire in Madison Avenue, that's the task, is one that's small. So we'll be their biggest client. We'll get special attention. And you believe that a good marketing company is one that's international, a lot of experience in our field, great connections, years of history of successful marketing campaigns. See what's happening here? We have different criteria of what a good solution is, what a good marketing company is. I'm looking for boutique, you're looking for large industrial experience. What are the chances we're going to agree on a solution on a marketing company if we don't agree on the criteria? So see, the next step here in our path of holding the line is we have to agree on what is the criteria of a good solution. Once we agree on what the criteria is, it's very easy to find a marketing company that fits that criteria. The solution will almost emerge on its own. So rather than jumping into the solution where you have a mix of misunderstandings of what the problem is, misunderstandings of what the task is, the conflicting understandings and definitions of what the criteria is, and all of that conflict of misunderstanding is bubbling up and everybody's fighting, holding on to their solution. Stop. Go back. Agree first. What is the problem? Define it. Then define what is the task or multiple tasks. Then work through each task one at a time, defining the criteria, and that'll help you come to a common conclusion on what the proper solution is. And once you know the solution, you can now do implementation planning. Who's going to do what, by when, and how? That is the sequence. Obviously, you're only going to use this for complex problems for which you don't know what the solution is. If you know what the solution is, you wouldn't need this. But for complex problems where you don't know the solution, where you need the cooperation of people who don't necessarily report to you, that's when you have to co-create the solution. And that's the right way to do it, one step at a time. Don't just throw mud against the wall and see what sticks. First, create the target. First, align your troops, advance together so that you arrive together. And that's how to co-create solutions.